welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to make this really cute magnet using artwork from the back of the Farmhouse calendars from Dollar Tree. Stay tuned and I'll show you how to make it. Alrighty, y'all, let us get started. So first off, what you're going to need a pack of the tumbling tower blocks from Dollar Tree. For each one of your little magnets that you want to make, you're going to be using 8, okay? And as you can see over here, I already have 8 of those glued together, 4 and 4. Saves a few steps in the video. Ooh, hit the camera. You're also going to need some of these little images. Where did these come from? Well, I cut these off of the back panel. This is the Farmhouse calendar from Dollar Tree, and these are the little, I'm going to call them thumbnails, the little thumbnail images off of the back cover of that calendar. So I want to be using, for this video, I'm going to be using this one. How adorable is that? So I have that. I have a little container of water over here. I have some acrylic paint. I have some of this Gorilla wood glue, and then I have these little wooden leaves. I bought this pack a while back. You can get them at Joann's. I know Hobby Lobby has them, and I haven't used the whole pack yet. I love these things. You're also going to need some magnets, and I have a paintbrush. So anyway, like I said, what I did, and I know this glue is not dry, so I'm trying to be extra careful. It's only been sitting here a couple hours. I dried, good Lord. I glued 4 and 4, and then I just glued them together. So anyway, first off, what I want to do with these here, like I said, with my water over here, now look, I'm just peeling the plastic right off of this darn lid. Because like I said in the past, I am the world's worst when it comes to putting paint in my lid and using it. So I'm just going to put a glop. Well, that's just disgusting. Oh, my kids would get a kick out of that. Ew. All right. So I'll put that in the water because I want to water this paint down. I'm going to use it kind of like a stain. I don't want the, well, that's just utterly disgusting. I don't want the paint to be very dark or opaque. I'm mixing it down with the water to give us more of like a stain type deal. If I didn't have a strong stomach, this would be incredibly revolting. And of course, I pick brown paint. Anyway, yeah, mixing just a little bit like this. And it is very, very watery. All right, so now I'm not going to get a whole lot on my brush. Just a little bit, wiping it off on the side here. And then I'm just going to brush it on like so. Wipe my brush off. Can y'all see what I'm doing? Brushing it like this. I know that looks dark, but give me a minute. Painting on, painting on. Trying to be careful because knowing me, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to pull these blocks apart. Okay, you sit there. Now I'm going to get a paper towel over here. I'm just folding it a little bit. Little bit. I'm just dabbing some of that off. I want this to be like as rustic looking as possible because a lot of this is going to be covered up with our image and, you know, with our little decoration that we're going to put on it. But still. Another way to stain wood like this with acrylic paint is you've probably seen that very old video of mine where you can take a baby wipe. Just take a very damp baby wipe. Put a little drop of acrylic paint and then buff it onto the wood like that, and it waters it down, and then you can just throw the baby wipe away. You don't have to worry about rinsing out a brush. You don't have to worry about rinsing this out. But anyway, there we go. And it looks pretty much like the way I want it. All right, so let's see. I think for my image, I'm going to stick it down right there. Oh, you're also going to need some Mod Podge. I'm sorry. I think I forgot to say that. Now, somebody on another video had asked me, they're like, why don't you use glue sticks? Because I don't like them. I mean, you know, plain and simple, I don't like them. So I'm going to put a little bit of Mod Podge in the lid. It's my lid. I can do it if I want to. That was a big old blob of Mod Podge. And then I'm just going to paint it on the back here. And then we're going to stick this down on there, and then I'm going to leave it alone until the Mod Podge has dried. That is the hard part, because I'm not a patient person, and I hate waiting for paint and Mod Podge and glue and whatnot to set up and dry. Alright, that's good enough. And now I'm just going to stick it over here on this side. There we go. Come on, give it a tappy tappy. If you don't know all these technical terms, then you can't be a crafter. You have to have tappy tappies and big old blobs. See how technical and like professional that sounds? Alright, so I'm just going to hold this down here for a second until this Mod Podge can start to adhere. If this was 100% dry, it would work a heck of a lot better. I want to zoom in for a minute. Hello. There we go. Now it's starting to stick down. Alright, so I'm going to take something not very heavy, but something that will hold this down. And I'm just going to set it right on top of there for a good 5 or 10 minutes or so, and then I'll take it away, and then we're just going to let this sit here and let this dry, let the Mod Podge dry. I have a fan over here. I'm getting ready to blast it with the fan. And now I'm going to go Mod Podge some other projects I'm working on over here while I'm waiting on this little guy to dry, and I'll be back here in a little bit. Okay, let me show you what I'm doing here. I decided against using these leaves in lieu of something else. I'm going to show you that here in a second. But what I'm doing now, this is dry. And I just have this nail file here. Now you can use a nail file, you can use a piece of sandpaper, what have you. But what I'm doing is I'm just going along the very, very edge of this little image here. I'm probably shaking the bejesus out of the table. I'm just going along the very, very edge here. I'm not putting a whole heck of a lot of pressure. I'm just kind of really scuffing the edge up a little bit. I want this to be sort of rustic looking, okay? So I'm just carefully, carefully scuffing up the edge. Okay. Let's get all that off of there. And then I'm going back with a little bit of that watered down acrylic paint. And I'm putting just a little bit, kind of like right there on the edge. See, I'm getting it a little bit on that image. Okay, and then we're going to take a paper towel. Oops, I need a new paper towel. I'm just putting on top of it and kind of wiping away from the image. I'm just trying to stain that edge just a little bit with the paper. You see how it roughs it up and it makes it look rustic. I know somebody's probably going to yell at me because this is the same file that I use when I'm doing nails. My nails, nobody else's nails. So yeah, this is going to go on my hands, but I'll just wipe that little bit of paper off. It ain't going to hurt nothing. All right, here we go. Make sure we get all the little scragglies off. Stop it. All right, let's go in just a little bit here on that edge. Okay, let's wipe that off. You can do a little dabby dab right here and then wipe it off. Okay, and then we're going to do it on this other side, and then we're going to be done with that. But yeah, I was playing around with these leaves, and I'm like, nah, the truck has pumpkins in it. The truck doesn't have leaves in it. And I knew I had gotten some tiny little pumpkins. Dollar Tree has them. Joann's also has them. But I'll show you what I mean here in a second. Let me get done doing this. But these tiny, tiny little pumpkins, and I messed one of them up. I'm going to show you what I did to mess it up so that you don't do it. All right, where'd the paper towel go? Right here. Okay, just kind of blend that in with the rest of it over here. All right, now you see how that's, I like that much, much better. Okay, so these, oh Lord, I'm making a mess. So these tiny little pumpkins here, I'm going to zoom back out for a second. These are from Dollar Tree, and they are on a little piece of wire. Now let me show you something. What I did is I just straightened the wire out and then pulled them off the card. And then I used a pair of wire cutters just to snip it off right here at the bottom of the pumpkin. You're not going to see that part when we use it on here, because I tried to pull the wire out. And as you can see, kind of, sort of, not really, this plasticky paint stuff kind of extended down on that piece of wire a little bit. And then when I pulled it out, I ripped its little behind off, and you don't want to rip your behind off. It's painful. So now I'm going to take this little pumpkin guy, and I want to cut him in half with my trusty, very old knife that I use for a lot of crafting things. There we go. Ooh. All right, so you know there's that plasticky stuff down there. I'm trying to not rip it any more than what I already have. Okay, let's trim that off. Okay, now I'm going to glue that right here. Let's zoom in. I'm going to glue that right here, and then I want to take some of that, the tiny little twine from Dollar Tree, and I'm going to make a little bow, and we're going to stick that right there. And then I'm going to go around the edge with some more rope. But I need to plug in my glue gun, and I need to find that little rope, but this is what it's going to look like here in a minute. Okay, so I'm going to put that right there. All right, so let's let the glue gun finish heating up, and I'm going to get everything else together, and then we come back and finish it up. Alrighty, so my glue gun is hot, and I have all of my rope here. So this is my low temp glue gun, okay, because these are foam. Don't use a high temp, or you are going to melt it, and you don't want to do that. All right, so I'm gonna place, I've been working with the positioning here, and I didn't want it right down at the bottom. I think that'll look good right in there. Okay, now you know what? I want to put, try to let that glue set there for a second. I need another paper towel. I have tons of paper towels and baby wipes in here because I make messes. All right, so going back in with a little bit of that watered down acrylic paint. I just want some dimension here on my pumpkin. I'm just going to go in like so. All right, on my paper towel. I should have done this before I glued it down, but there we go. All right, it gives it a little bit of color. I might go in one more time with that. Let's build up that color a little bit, especially around here at the top. Just that stark, bright orange, and everything else is sort of muted. Yeah, I don't really like that. You know what the hey? Let's just put some all over it. All right, I'm going to let that sit there just for a second, and then I'm going to make a dabby dab with my paper towel. All right, let's put this brush back over here. Heck, I've already got paint all over the place anyway. All right, so there's that. And I know it's probably hard to see on camera, but it did give it more dimension and sort of that dirty look. All right, twine. We'll do that last. So this rope here, this is thicker than the tiny twine that you can get at Dollar Tree. It's also a little bit thinner than the regular nautical rope. You can get this at pretty much any craft store and Walmart. And what I'm going to do is try to not put a whole bunch of hot glue because I don't want it showing through. I'm just going to glue it all the way around. Starting over here in this corner, because I find that if you start in the corner, it's a little bit easier to hide the end than it is if you just start in the middle. All right, so I'm just going to glue this all the way around the edge. Now this thinner twine that I got at Dollar Tree, I'm just going to use it tied into a bow, and then I'm going to take that bow and glue right there on my little pumpkin. So let me work on that, and then when I come back, we're going to glue the magnet on the back, and it'll be done. All right, so there's my little pumpkin, and I have the bow glued right here. Kind of hard to see. There we go. I have the bow glued right there, and you can see that brownish paint give a little bit more dimension, and I have the rope all the way around the edge. Now we're going to glue the magnets on the back. Now with magnets, I don't like to use hot glue. okay, because the magnets are very, very slick. And when you put the pressure on your magnet to pull it off of your refrigerator, you run the risk of the magnets popping off the back, okay? And we don't want that. So I'm going to be using this Gorilla Clear Grip adhesive. This is like E6000. Doesn't smell as strong as E6000 though. And I am just going to put a big old blob. Well, not a big old blob. You don't need a big old blob of this. Like that. On the back here. We'll see, like right there. So gently lay that down so as to not smush my pumpkin. Now these magnets, these particular magnets, I believe came from Walmart, but you can get them at any craft store. Oh Lord, why are you trying to come out of the tube? I'm done with you. I don't need any more. Go. And my camera cut off. But anyway, it is done. The magnets are on the back, and I'm going to let the magnets cure, well, the glue cure, the magnets are already cured, for a good 24 hours before I go putting it on my refrigerator, okay? That glue needs at least that much time to create a really strong bond. So anyway, here it is. I hope you liked it. If you would, give this video a thumbs up, click subscribe, check me out on other forms of social media, the links to all of which will be in the description box down below, and I hope to see y'all next time.